Welcome to Tale of Two Cities, a special series on WION. The series will explore the poetics of space within our cities. We'll travel around the globe to show how cities, though far apart, are not so different after all. Hailing from Harvard University with more than 1,000 projects under his belt with CP Kukreja architects, Dikshu Kukreja sets sail on a journey to 8 cities of the world, talking to presidents, prime ministers and mayors, challenging the conventional ideas people have about these cities. Today, he looks at the Republic of San Marino and the experimental township of Auroville. Let's go over to Dikshu and see what he has in store for us.
Today's episode is going to be all about micronations and experimental townships. San Marino, better known as the most serene Republic of San Marino, is landlocked by Italy from all 4 directions. Established in the 3rd century by a hermit saint named Saint Marinus, the Republic has upheld its sovereignty through the hardest of the battles and winters. The Republic is no more than 60 square kilometers, but do not be mistaken, it still has the 10th highest GDP in the world. When you come to San Marino, you feel as though you've traveled through time to arrive in a bygone era, where time still moves at a gear slower than the rest of the world. In fact, San Marino offers many tokens and artifacts from the days of yore. You can see them in opulent display in several museums situated on the picturesque cliff named Mount Titano. Counterbalancing our international pick is the experimental utopian township of Auroville, which has an overall area of 20 square kilometers situated in southern India. Known as the City of Dawn, it is the first of its kind in the entire world and was established to realize human unity in diversity. Auroville endorses experiments in transformation through consciousness, practical research in sustainable living, and addresses the future cultural, environmental, social, and spiritual needs of mankind. Education is free for the community, and the students have the flexibility to study subjects at their own pace. While San Marino is a remnant of the feudal city-state period, Auroville was envisaged as a city of tomorrow, its territorial boundaries strategically limited to accommodate no more than 50,000 people. There are deep incisions to be made and lessons waiting to be learned from this discourse, and to help unravel them with me are San Marino's 2 important ministers, Minister of Tourism Federico Amati and Minister of Industry, Fabio Righi. Buonasera.
Buonasera.
Minister Federico Pedini Amati, it is such an honor and pleasure to be here in your office after having spent some wonderful time in San Marino. I know it is considered the oldest republic in the world, so it's very special to be walking the streets of a republic with a population of 34,000 people, and yet one which has maintained its territorial integrity. Please tell us a little bit about the historical significance of San Marino.
Thank you for being here. It is an honor to be able to speak to your country and to the world in general about our ancient history. The Republic of San Marino was founded in ancient times in 301 AD by our saint. Our country is named after its holy founder, Marino. Marino was a stonecutter who crossed the sea from the city of Rob to escape persecution against Christians. He then came to the Adriatic coast and finally arrived in the territory of the Republic of San Marino. Here, Marino and another stonecutter named Leo founded a Christian community in the year 301 AD. The symbol of our country, apart from the colors, read Libertas, because we have never waged any kind of war and have always been independent.
Indipendente.
It's very interesting. Today, San Marino is about 60 square kilometers and Auroville is 20 square kilometers. San Marino has a population of 34,000, while Auroville has been designed as a utopian town for a population of 50,000. Napoleon Bonaparte offered to extend the territory eastwards to the Adriatic Sea, but San Marino always believed in its own territorial integrity. Tell us a little bit about that historical significance.
Ma Napoleone Bonaparte fu solo uno
Napoleon Bonaparte was just one of the important characters who passed near our territory and interacted with the Republic of San Marino. Napoleon certainly offered to add a portion of territory to the Republic, but fortunately that territory was not accepted by the citizens at the time, because this territory would have reached the sea. We all know that any territory or any coast overlooking the sea is much more attractive for potential conquerors. At another time, more territory in the hinterland was accepted, and our entire territory is now 60 square kilometers.
60 chilometri quadrati.
Auroville also has this very interesting aspect of being a self-contained township. That's the way it has been looked at. It's in a way also a microcosm of the world, where really people from 60 nations across the world came in to establish Auroville. In the case of San Marino, we notice that it is a small republic, of course, but it has also been attracting tourists from all over the world. How does tourism play a role in the economy of San Marino?
Allora, il turismo nella Repubblica di San Marino vale...
So, tourism in the Republic of San Marino is worth around 15 to 20% of GDP. Clearly, in different years, we have calculated even higher tourist flows. In the last 2 years, we have experienced great national tourism, and by national tourism, I mean referring to the Italian territory and to the neighboring European areas, Spain, France, Germany, Austria, and also Eastern Europe, including Russia. I have also started to see many Indian tourists, and this makes me very happy. Our main characteristics, based directly on tourism, are certainly the medieval landscape in our country. This is a welcoming country with very welcoming citizens, excellent food and wine, remarkable hospitality services and events like the medieval days, the Christmas of Wonders and many others. From a health point of view, it is a country of excellence. So the main two things that one wants to find, a guarantee of health care where necessary, and on the other hand, personal safety. These 2 points are absolutely guaranteed.
Questi 2 punti sono assolutamente garantiti.
Auroville has not been designed with the sole purpose of tourism. In fact, it's the other way around. It's meant to be just a township on its own. It's a microcosm of the world. It creates a uniqueness in itself, bringing people together for living a better life. You usually think that large nations have their cultural practices, arts movement, etc., etc. But that's not necessarily true. I mean, small places, small nations are equally having their own traditions, their own culture, their own art. Tell us a little bit about that as well of San Marino.
Praticamente si svolgono con una ricorrenza.
Recently, San Marino has attracted very important groups, both on the sporting and industrial level. One of the main events is the Misano MotoGP. We also have the Rally Legend event that is only held in San Marino. Our event, called Christmas of Wonders, is organized in a vibrant Christmas atmosphere. Our streets, landscapes, and our territory are perfect for this event. And we also have a lot of events that take place during this summer. We are known for the history, culture, and traditions of our country. Those who want to retire in San Marino can do so by buying a residence. Although not in the EU, San Marino has prerogatives that allow citizens from all over the world to come and reside here. So, if someone wants to experience it, they must come here.
A Auroville. Adesso vorrei farti una domanda.
Now, I'd like to ask you a question. You told me about Auroville. We compared Auroville to the Republic of San Marino. I would like to understand, if I want to come to Auroville, what must I necessarily see?
A Auroville.
When you look at San Marino, it's a very interesting topography and also not necessarily the most fertile part where this development took place. Same way in Auroville, when it was established, it was absolutely a barren land, but I think there was a vision, there was a mission, and with that came this intention to create a development there, to create civilization there. At the nucleus is the peace zone. Because it's a microcosm of the world, it brings citizens from across 60 nations. When it was founded, the idea was it was all centered around peace, and then around it were the zones of residential and industrial and also cultural zone. The idea was that whatever technology, building technology would take place here would all be sustainable measures. So cutting edge technology in the world, for example, the World Earth Institute exists in Auroville, and it has been giving research and technology, sharing them with more than 38 countries. It teaches us a lot in terms of urban planning and our city planning, what challenges we are facing in the world today. Thank you so much, Minister Amati.
Grazie a lei. Grazie a voi.
See you in Auroville. I would be very happy to be able to come and visit this beautiful town. Thank you.
Grazie.
We are in this episode of Tale of Two Cities, not just meeting one, but two ministers from San Marino. Buonasera, Minister Fabio Righi. I'm delighted to be here, and of course I'm going to be speaking to you in English for the benefit of our viewers. Ho studiato italiano a scuola per frequentare architettura in Italia. But after that, I decided to go and study architecture in United States, and that's why it's no Italian anymore, and it went on to become English. But coming back to being in San Marino, it's one of the smallest nations in the world. It still has the 10th highest GDP in the world. In terms of its economy, a small country with just 34,000 people, how does it look after its economy vis-a-vis the world economy? How does that work?
I say that your question is very, very interesting. San Marino
is one of the oldest and one of the smallest countries in the world. Thanks to our autonomy and ability to dialogue with the world, San Marino now has a position in the main international organizations. From the UN to the Council of Europe, we have our own government administration, health system and industrial districts. While for geographical reasons, Italy is our main partner, but we have ambitions to become more international thanks to technology. This is important for us in the moment of great green, digital and sustainable transformation in the world, as it is for big countries. Our great professionalism and awareness of our size and identity has guaranteed us to always find our own space at the international level and in relation to other countries.
Climate change is now beginning to play a very, very important factor all over the world, and even economies are now moving in a direction of more environment-friendly technologies, environment-friendly materials, environment-friendly solutions that are being found. We look at India at that large scale. It's a developing nation, a fast developing nation. How do you see this small nation meeting the challenges of climate change?
I think this is another good question, because the challenges is the same of the big country. Quindi anche la Repubblica di San Marino.
The Republic of San Marino has the same goals and challenges as big countries, making our economy sustainable and totally digital, and showing that an entire nation, albeit small, can change, is the greatest message that our republic can send. San Marino can present itself internationally as a technological hub where entrepreneurs and companies, thanks to the size of the territory, can find a friendly context in order to develop innovative solutions and to do it in a small, safe, protected context. New technologies can shorten distances between us and large countries like India, and we can now communicate in a much more effective way than in the past. Our country cannot compete in terms of size, but can distinguish itself for its excellence and capacity to develop thanks to new technologies.
I'm sitting here in San Marino, which has as a nation a population of about 34,000 people, and yet the nation has two heads of state. Tell us a little bit more about that. Why is that the case? Because it is very, very unusual, isn't it?
Yes, this is a particular characteristic of the Republic of San Marino.
This characteristic actually has very ancient origins, because the presence of two heads of state is the evolution of the two Roman consuls, who ruled the lands of the empire during the Republican period of the Roman Empire. We have two heads of state who remain in charge for 6 months. It is something that characterizes our institutions, and I believe it is also a great message of democracy, because the two captains regent have veto power over each other. Therefore, they must always agree. Indeed, the Roman term consuls means people who decide together, so they have this great task of always sharing the choices about the decisions they make. They play an important role because they chair our government, they participate in the meetings of our government, and they chair our parliament, and therefore they are part of the institutional life of our republic.
San Marino is the oldest republic in the world, and Auroville is a development which is probably one of the youngest. It's only about 50 plus years. Now, in the case of Auroville, if one was still to talk about traditions and practices, it was founded with a certain utopian idea of bringing a microcosm of the world on a small piece of land. If we talk about San Marino, I'd like to know from you a little bit more about the traditions, the arts, and the people. How do they live in this small nation? What is unique about the San Marinis?
The traditions of the San Marino people are the same as those of Italian people. Our traditions are similar, and we share the same history, even if the Republic of San Marino has a history of its own. So certainly our judicial system is different from a legal point of view, because Napoleon Bonaparte did not conquer the territory of San Marino. San Marino's identity is something we have always been proud of. We have our own national holidays. We have a holiday that celebrates San Marino, the saint who is the founder and the protector of the Republic. And we have other holidays connected to our institutions. People here are very welcoming. The citizens of San Marino have always done their best to help others. The size of the country certainly helps, because relationships are always very close between companies, institutions, ministries, and heads of state.
So, Minister Fabio Righi, we see that we are sitting here in one of the oldest republics of the world, but in front of me sits a very young minister of this republic, holding very, very important position and very important portfolios. Where do you see the future of this beautiful, beautiful nation of San Marino?
I believe that the future of the Republic is a new economic identity that can be presented in the international context. We certainly do not have the capacity to produce an effect on the global level, but we have the ability and the intelligence to understand where the world is going and to be the first one in meeting certain targets. Especially because we are small and we can guarantee a fast bureaucracy. At the same time, we must also know how to catch the competitiveness that a small country like ours can provide to the entrepreneurs and guarantee them a friendly context in which it is really easy to do business. At the same time, they can live in a small place that is beautiful and safe, but with an eye on the world and the ability to be truly international.
Well, that is really promising, and I think truly there is a great bright future of this small nation, and with young leaders like you who are going to take it further into the 21st century, not just for this nation but this region around.
Thank you. Can I make a question to you? What do you think about the Republic of San Marino?
One of the aspects we were very keen to look at was not just mega cities and metropolitan centers in the world, but also small places, to discover and see what are the aspirations of the people there, what are the transformations that have taken place in these places also, from the past to the current times and to the future. And when I reached here, I think the very first experience when you're going through, coming from Tuscany and coming through Bologna and coming into this area, walking on the streets, driving in here before that, looking at the buildings and how they sit so comfortably with the landscape, you feel that they are there to tell you a story not just about the past, but they are telling you about what's happening here today as well.
Thank you very much for this opportunity.
In the emergence of San Marino, which was in the 3rd century, and Auroville only 50 years ago, both of them stand out as distinct urban entities. Both these places have their own unique festivals, local traditions, and local governance patterns, which set them apart from any other urban establishment in the world. San Marino has some of the most incredible festivals, competitive motorsports events, and local traditions. Auroville was envisioned as the city of dawn, an autonomous socio-urban experiment, the core idea of which was to establish a town for ceaseless endeavor towards the search for truth. By researching and developing methods of sustainability, improving crop production, energy synthesis, and more. San Marino, with its well-documented and preserved history, is taking the next step forward to be the technological hub of tomorrow, inviting entrepreneurs to develop innovative solutions across all spheres of life. It is interesting to me how, despite the difference in circumstances that gave rise to their existence, both of them today have arrived at similar worldviews and values. Well, that concludes this tale of two cities, San Marino and Auroville.